Kind of joke about moving to Japan for work. I heard it's pretty bad there. I think if you want to move to Japan, it's hard to recommend working in Japan, as in like working for a Japanese company. If you can work for a foreign company in Japan, that's the best bet. Not all Japanese companies are obviously bad, but a lot are, because there's no work-life balance. There's an expectation of you to do a lot of stuff that isn't work. Productivity is very low in general. So, you know, there's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want to work in Japan. The yen is also really, really weak. A lot of people will tell you, yeah, but the cost of living is low. But even if you like factor in general like power of your currency, it's still a lot lower. Most people recommend, hey, if you can get a remote working job in America or something, and then you can just off and spend 3 months in Japan at a time and actually spend money and have a great time. It's way better in general, unless you're super passionate about living in Japan. But, you know, and even Japan is trying to cut down on people doing that, because a lot of people do that in Japan. Obviously, there are tons of people who have like really nice remote work jobs where they can kind of be anywhere in the world. And Japan is like, how do we tax these people who are in our country for 3 months working and not paying any taxes? So Japan's trying, they're trying, but they're not having much luck. It's kind of hard to tax someone who doesn't live in your country. That's illegal on a tourist visa. Yeah, there's a digital nomad visa. It is illegal, but a lot of people do it. A lot of people are doing it. And Japan is trying to crack down on it, but they're having a tough time. Because, you know, here's the thing. It is illegal to do. How the hell do you stop someone from doing it? How do you catch them from doing it? You know what I mean? It's a very tough situation they find themselves in, where like, let's say you have a Microsoft employee who has an extremely nice job where he works remote, and it doesn't matter what hours he works. So let's say he can even work 8 a.m. in Japan to 3 p.m., right? Let's say he does that. Japan has no mechanism, and like globally, we have no way to catch someone from doing it, right? If they say they're here for 3 months on a tourist visa, and you know, they are renting a hotel for 3 months, how are they going to find out and tax you? It is illegal, but they have no way. So Japan is now trying to find, and Japan's solution to this is to offer a visa and be like, hey, would you consider yourself a digital nomad? Would you like to pay taxes in Japan and work in Japan, but not live here and not have any of the benefits of living here? Well, now you can. Yeah, basically, it kind of, from what I've understood, the only benefit to the digital nomad visa is that you can basically stay here a little longer. But other than that, that's pretty much the only benefit, because you only get to stay, I think, 6 months, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong. Please don't fact check me. And don't take any of this as like gospel. Please do your own research and ask an immigration lawyer. I think it's 6 months. You don't get a residence card, which is kind of the main thing you need to unlock everything about living here. So you kind of don't get any of the benefit that you would get from an actual visa. And the other fun thing, the other benefit you get is that you get the benefit of paying taxes, which, you know, if you're like an American citizen, for example, you're already having to pay tax even if you don't live in America, which I'm sure maybe a lot of Americans who never leave America don't know about this. Probably. But America is, I think, one of 2 countries, or one of very, very few countries in the world that requires citizens to pay taxes in America, even if you don't live there. I think North Korea is one of the other countries. I don't know. I don't know which of the other countries that do it. Canada does that too. Really? Canada? I don't think Canada does. No? Really? Yeah, because like when I left the UK, for example, you know, I had to file a form. I had to file a form and say, hey, look, I'm leaving the UK. I will not be a resident of the UK anymore. I will pay tax up until the day of my leaving. So I'll pay the proportional amount of tax up till that day, you know, and then I'm done. So like I basically, like, if I left in October, for example, I think I ended up paying like a 6-month tax return for like all the work I did that time in the UK. And then I've never had to pay tax in the UK since. So it's very simple. It was honestly painless. You just had to, you know, pay your checks and balances and you're done. In the US, you have to pay it. So obviously there's also, you know, a lot of these big tech jobs, because it's mostly people who work in tech who have been doing this thing in Japan, where they come and live here for 3 months on like a tourist visa and working. There's like zero incentive for them to want to be taxed in Japan. So they're trying to figure out how to tax these people, but not having much luck, understandably. And Japan tax is high as well. It's very high. I think it would scare the average American who is not used to the European high taxes.